Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 89. Text number 8 and 9. So when we repeat these verses, we can one devotee can say one verse and next verse. You don't have to everybody repeat two verses. So each will alternate that way. Shayanam Shila Utsaje Padavaksha Shita Dayat Tatatutaya Bhagavan Saha Lakshmya Satam Gati Swatalpan Avaruyatta Nama Shirasa Munim Ahate Swagatam Raman Ishidhatra Sanekshanam Ajanatam Agatanva Shantum Arhatana Prabho Shayanam Shriya Utsange Padavaksha Shata Dayat Tatatutaya Bhagavan Saha Lakshmya Satam Gati Tatalpad Avarduyata Nama Shirasa Munim Ahate Swagatam Raman Ishidhatra Sanekshanam Ajanatam Agatanva Shantum Arhatana Prabho. Shayanam Shriya Utsange Satam Gati Tatalpadavarudyata Nama Shirasa Munim Swagatam Brahman Vishidatra Sanekshanam Ajanatamagatanva Shantum Haratana Prabho. Anyone else? Shayanam Shriya Utsange Padavaksha Shita Dayat Tatatutaya Bhagavan Sahas Lakshmya Satam Gati Remember, one verse per devotee. One, not two. No. Anybody else? Vaishnavis? Ajanam Shayayusnaye Adavaksha Shatadayad Rautaya Bhagavan Lakshma Satam Gati. Swagatam Brahman Yashidatrasanekshanam Anatam Agatam Va Antumagatana Prabhu Shayanam, who was lying down, Shriya, of the goddess of fortune, Utsange, on the lap, Pada, with his foot, Bhakshasi, on his chest, Atadayat, he kicked, Tata, then, Utaya, standing up, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Saha Lakshmiya, together with Goddess Lakshmi, Satam, of pure devotees, Gati, the destination, Swa, his, Talpat, from the bed, Avaruya, climbing down, Atta, then, Nanama, he bowed down, Shirasa, with his head, Munim, to the sage, Aha, he said, Te, to you, Su Agatam, welcome, Brahman, O Brahmana, Nishida, please sit, Atra, in this, Asane, seat, Kshanam, for a moment, Ajanatam, who were unaware, Agatan, arrived, Ba, of you, Shantum, forgive, Arhata, you should please, Na, us, Prabhu, O Master. Translation and purport. Then he went up to the Supreme Lord, who was lying with his head on the lap of his consort, Shri, and kicked him on the chest. The Lord then rose, along with Goddess Lakshmi, as a sign of respect. Coming down from his bedstead, the supreme goal of all pure devotees bowed his head to the floor before the sage and told him, "Welcome, Brahmana. Please sit in this chair and rest a while. Kindly forgive us, dear Master, for not noticing your arrival." So everyone can please repeat. There he went up to the Supreme Lord, who was lying with his head on the lap of his consort, Shri, and kicked him on the chest. The Lord then rose, along with Goddess Lakshmi, as a sign of respect. coming down from his bedstead, that supreme goal of all pure devotees, bowed his head to the floor before the sage and told him, "Welcome, Brahmana. Please sit in this chair and rest a while. Kindly forgive us, dear master, for not noticing your arrival." Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, at the time of this pastime, Bhrigu Muni had not yet become a pure Vaishnava. Otherwise, he would not have acted so rashly toward the Supreme Lord. Not only was Lord Vishnu taking rest, but he was lying with his head in his wife's lap. For Bhrigu to strike him in this position, not with his hand, but with his foot, was worse than any other offense Bhrigu could have imagined. Srila Prabhupada comments, of course, Lord Vishnu is all merciful. He did not become angry at the activities of Bhrigu Muni because Bhrigu Muni was a great Brahmana. A Brahmana is to be excused even if he sometimes commits an offense. And Lord Vishnu set the example. Yet it is said that from the time of this incident, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, has not been very favorably disposed toward the Brahmanas. And therefore, because the goddess of fortune withholds her benedictions from them, the Brahmanas are generally very poor. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, just as 5,000 years ago, the sages of Naimisharanya were confused. Sometimes, just yesterday, someone asked me, how can an advanced devotee fall down? So here we understand that one may be very advanced, but just like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, he warns us in his Madhurya Kadambini that when one becomes advanced and more learned, then people start to follow. And people will offer wealth. And so, nadana najana, as Lord Chaitanya said, you get followers, you have wealth. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, having followers and being respected is more intoxicating than sex life. Because it's subtle. Sex life is gross. If people are having sex life, they don't. Am I doing something wrong? No. Someone smoking a cigarette. Is this against the? No, it's obvious, but subtle. This subtle desire to be worshipped, and therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Rupa Goswami, "We have to be careful of this upashaka, these weeds that can grow along with the bhakti lata, nishiddhachar, improper behavior. Now this is definitely Bhrigu Muhuni, this is improper behavior, not very good behavior. And kutinati, duplicitous behavior. One should, Prabhupada defined kutinati very simply. He's in terms of himself. He said, people like me. Otherwise, they like what I'm doing because whatever I say, I do. There's no difference between what I say and what I do. Kutinati means I say so many things, but I may do another thing. So this is not very good. And jiva himsana, violence against other living entities. And Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada defines that in a very unique way. That violence, the greatest violence, Srila Prabhupada says, you can do against a living entity is to have the opportunity to give them Krishna consciousness and you don't do it. So this is the greatest violence. Because I can't remember which Purana it is, but I think it's Padma Purana. There's a description of how frequent is the opportunity to come to devotional service. And it says, if a neem tree falls in the ocean or in a lake or ocean, big body of water, and the neem tree is, old neem tree is fallen over, and it's got a hole in it, small hole, and a turtle is swimming underwater and has to come up for air and comes up right through that hole. That is that's how common it is to come to devotional service. And neem trees don't rot very easily. They're known for their strong wood. So it's even less frequent. So if someone gets this opportunity and you're put in that position and you don't take advantage of it, then you are committing great violence. And therefore, when Kurma Brahman wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw this big Sankirtan. He's a Grihastha Brahman, good, steady Brahman, but he wasn't a pure devotee, just like Bhrigu Muni here. No, it wasn't pure Vaishnava yet. So if he was a pure Vaishnava, he would have just explained to everyone that Vishnu is supreme and given so many evidences. But not being a pure Vaishnava, he couldn't do that. He himself had some doubt. Maharaj Prataparudra, he also had some doubt. I'll explain that later. So Kurma Brahman, he saw this ecstatic kirtan, and he was thinking, here I am at home, stuck here, family obligations. Look at these devotees there. And so he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please allow me to go with your kirtan. And what did Mahaprabhu say? Jari dekatare kaha Krishna padesh amaragyaya guru hanyatara. No, you stay at home. And anyone you meet, wherever you go, anyone you meet, you tell them according to whatever you've learned from Bhagavad-gita, and Prabhupada includes Srimad Bhagavatam, and you become guru. Otherwise, better to accept the difficulty that one situation in life, accept it and be pure-hearted and serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even in our ISKCON movement, we had this phenomenon. The Radha Damodar party would come to different temples, and devotees, some brahmacharis would be in the temple, and here I am in the temple, I have to clean the floor, I have to do this, I have to do that. Oh, and here this ecstatic bus full of brahmacharis and sannyasis. Forget about it. I'm going. And it happened many times. But Prabhupada didn't like it. Prabhupada, just like Mahaprabhu, he said, disbanded the party and said, the leader, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you go to China. Of course, this is all Krishna's arrangement. And China, actually, Srila Prabhupada took advantage of it because he knew there weren't many devotees who could just go to China alone and start the movement. Here was one devotee, who could do that. And anyway, when he was together with too many devotees, sometimes it was like two bamboo rods rubbing together. Many devotees here in Juhu had that experience. I also had that experience. But he did wonderful things. So Prabhupada defended the temples have to go on. It's not easy to maintain a temple. Even a small temple. I had one small temple in Ecuador. There was only 5 devotees, and it was difficult because I was the temple president, cook, treasurer, and everybody was like 3 things. And one day I woke up and all the devotees were gone. I thought I was preaching brahmachari. Where are the devotees? And I had to do everything, cook, I became everything, go out on Sankirtan. And then somebody called me from another country, Colombia, said, I saw one of your devotees here, and he was in a tree. Okay. So I immediately got on a bus, took the 28-hour ride and got there. And so they said, yeah, I saw him in a tree. What tree? And I went, and there he was, in the tree. So I said, Prabhu, and so he came down. And then the other 2 devotees came down. And so I said, what are you doing? And he said, we can't be brahmachari. Well, what are you doing in the tree? Well, because they didn't allow us to stay in the temple. So when the Matajis come by, we drop a note. Would you like to get married? And so anyway, we made an arrangement. But so it's same thing. You can't have artificial spiritual life. One should serve Krishna. Serve Krishna in a natural way. Srila Prabhupada emphasizes this in the story of Gajendra, that one should be situated where one is properly, and serve Krishna with all one's heart, whatever that situation may be. So anyway, so the sages of Naimisharanya, they were confused, but Sutta Goswami, he was a pure devotee. He was Saumya, he was very gentle. He was Snigdha, he was very affectionate. And therefore, everything was revealed to him by the parampara, and he could reveal it to everyone. But Bhrigu Muni, he didn't have the sages were confused. These were great devotees, great personalities. Some were devotees, some may have been devotees of Shiva, some devotees of Brahma. And also Bhrigu Muni, he's son of Brahma. So there's always family affection. He might have favored Brahma, therefore he was confused. My father, I've never met Vishnu. I know Brahma, he's very powerful. Confusion. We see now all of India and the whole world is confused. They don't know who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. But by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and the mercy of the Vaishnavas and the mercy of our acharyas, we are letting people know, and so many people, when they read Prabhupada's books, if they're sincere, immediately they understand Krishna. One time I was in South India and I went to one Vishnu temple. It was a very interesting temple because they had an elephant at the doorway, and you had to stop in front of the elephant. And if the elephant touched your head, you could go in. But the elephant, I saw it happen. One man was coming in, the elephant put his trunk like this, but the man tried to go by, and the elephant grabbed him with his trunk, pushed him out. This elephant was, very, he determined what your degree of Krishna consciousness was, or Vishnu consciousness. So I went in, and so the priest came up, and he immediately said, "Vishnu is supreme." I said, "Yes, Vishnu is supreme, and Krishna is also supreme. Vishnu is supreme above Krishna." Immediately, So then I was thinking, well, what am I going to say? He's going to have 10,000 verses, and if I tell him the story of Venkata Bhatta and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he won't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is that? So I looked on they had pictures all around. So I looked and I said, "You say Vishnu is supreme, but I'm looking there," and I counted. There is about 25 pictures of Vishnu Leela, and there's about 70 pictures of Krishna Leela. I said, just see how sweet Krishna Leela is. And Vishnu Leela is very wonderful, but he's showing his power. He's very powerful. And just like we chant Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, so this is Vishnu, he's supreme, so you're situated at his lotus feet. Krishna Prasthaya. But the devotee of Krishna, he's very dear to Krishna because Krishna is so affectionate. Vishnu is also affectionate to his devotee. Just like when Nanda Gopakumar was, going through all of his different leelas, trying to understand, trying to get back to Vrindavan. So he came to Vaikuntha, and he saw Lord Vishnu, and he ran up and embraced him. And everybody go, "What's he doing? You don't do that." No, you don't do that in Vaikuntha. You don't run up and embrace the Lord. So it was like, and then he realized that this is not proper for Vaikuntha. But with Krishna, if you run up, if his devotee, he will run up and embrace his devotee. So this is the difference. So anyway, finally he said, he said, "Both are supreme." And I said, "Okay, both are supreme." And we agreed, truce. So here, in the purport, it says, he wasn't a pure Vaishnava because a pure Vaishnava could not put his foot on the chest of Lord Vishnu. And this is, if you did something like that to Krishna, a pure devotee, Krishna would accept. And Lord Vishnu accepted. But to do this to Lord Vishnu, the etiquette of Lord Vishnu is very, much more rigid. And to go up and put your foot on the chest of Lord Vishnu, and he's lying down with his head on the lap. No, it says utsange. Utsange means very intimate association. Just like Pandu, he made a big mistake. There were two deer in intimate association, and he shot the male deer. And then the deer began to speak. He was a little surprised. And he said, "I am actually a great sage. And, I couldn't, in the forest, I had to unite with my wife, but that would be improper. So we took the form of deer. And even as deers, you should not have done this. What to speak of Brahman? He was cursed." So, utsange, very intimate. So he's lying down. He has his head on the lap, and he comes up and puts his foot. No. So he could not have been a pure Vaishnava, could not have done that. Of course, one may argue, what about Parikshit Maharaj? he put a snake around the head of a Brahmin. But that is, even though that's offensive, no, immediately he realized, immediately Bhrigu Muni did not realize what he had done. No, immediately. And the Lord, what does the Lord do? He gets up and offers obeisances. No, this is amazing. How the Lord teaches by his example. Just like in our movement, Srila Prabhupada taught by example. He came, he didn't come, Vivekananda came, he was big guru and received, and, one devotee said to me one time, what would have happened if Prabhupada would have come first class flight, received by a big Hindu commission, and, but Krishna arranged it to be in such a way. Prabhupada came alone, only with his books, because otherwise he would have just come and given some lectures, like Paramahansa Yogananda. He came, and he gave lectures, everyone in suit and tie, and, but what happened? Nobody became a devotee. And but Prabhupada came in such a humble way and took such a humble position, showing what is a Vaishnava. And the devotees surrendered. They surrendered. Even took them some while to surrender. First of all, they saw Prabhupada, even in Butler, Mrs. Agarwal thought, oh, it's so nice. He cooks so nicely. He's such a sweet man. He plays with the children. Almost like having an elderly nanny. So she was seeing it like that. She didn't have the vision. And the devotees, they thought, oh, Swami, he cooks very nicely. We can go there, get a hot meal after our illicit adventures all night long. We can go and get a hot meal with the Swami. So, and then one day Prabhupada sat everyone down. He said, I am the guru, you are the disciple. So, even the first initiation, devotees, Mukunda and another devotee, they weren't really devotees yet. And they said, Mukunda said, are you going to get initiated? He asked that to Mukunda. He said, well, I think I'll try it. And, see what it's like. If it's okay, then otherwise I'll do something else. It had no idea. Prabhupada was introducing Krishna consciousness. But after that initiation, Prabhupada informed them, now, I'm not the cook. I'm not the cleanup man. I'm the guru, and you're the disciple. And then they finally understood, okay, yes, we have to obey. So, but this is the difference of pure devotee. So Parikshit Maharaj, he did that, and immediately he thought, why did I do that? Why did I do that? No. And then when he was cursed by Shringi, Samikya Muni, he was thinking, my son has committed such a great offense. I hope that Parikshit Maharaj will curse him, and then the offense will be nullified. Otherwise, he not only is he the king, and he was preaching to his son, he's not only is he the king, he's a great Vaishnava. And of course, Shringi, didn't really. He was a young boy, and he didn't get cursed. Shringi, he didn't suffer because of that, because he was a young boy. And so, then the Bhagavatam says, a Vaishnava, even if they're cursed, that whatever happens, tiraskrita, vipalabdha, even if they're cursed, even if they're defamed, shipta, shapta, atapi, even if they're treated very badly. And even whatever happens to them, even if they're beaten, they will never complain, even though they're so powerful. No, very powerful. Tad bhakta pababo pihi. They have the power to do it, but they will nastyade navikurtani. They will never counteract the curse. They accept. No, we get devotees get so many treatments. I remember one time I was doing Sankirtan, and people would drive by. One person threw a beer can at me, hit me in the shoulder. But I said no, Sankirtan. And then one man pulled up, big man in a big pickup truck, and I had BTG, so I knocked on the window, and he goes, knocked on the window again, and he just looked at me like, and then I knocked on the window again, and window came down, and he said, I don't want whatever you're selling, I don't want it. So I said, I have to give him a BTG. So I threw it on his hand, and he hit me like this. I went flying back, and then he looked at me like, what am I going to do? And I said, please keep the magazine. And he said, he was amazed. I hit him, and I'm just coming back. He said, I'm going to keep your magazine, because, you're really determined. So anyway, then, so this is what the devotee, sometimes all these situations, we don't know what will happen, but we have to have this determination. So here, this whole incident shows us with the importance of etiquette. The Lord, he may not take offense if someone offends him, but if someone offends his devotee, there's no possibility. Just like Haridas Thakur, when he was beaten in 22 marketplaces, then, they tried to push him into the Ganga, but they couldn't move him because he was in such deep samadhi that the Lord fully entered into his heart. And therefore, he had the weight of the three worlds. And so they tried to move him. And then when they stopped trying to move him, he just, rolled into the Ganga, and he came out. And the Brahmins, they had heard about it. They said, oh, this king, he's committed such a great offense. No, who knows what is his death? And Haridas said, no. Actually, the Lord was very merciful to me. I heard blasphemy against the Lord, and I did not do anything. So I should have gotten so much more punishment. But he just, beat me in 22 marketplaces only, and so, but the Qazi, his family, they all became sick, and he became sick, and he lost all of his power, he lost his position. Even the Nawab, because the Nawab recognized the greatness of Haridas, but because he allowed this to happen, he also had some misfortune, not as much as the Qazi. And the two men who were whipping him, their families became poor and they died. All this happened because offending a devotee. So, of course, we can't say, I won't offend devotees, but the Lord, he can take it. No, we don't think like that, because the devotee cannot tolerate that the Lord is offended. I mean, you can just imagine what, here we see the goddess of fortune. From that point on, Brahmins got cursed. You don't want to offend, just like, Chitraketu. He was smiling, thinking, this is very amusing that Lord Shiva is displaying this type of affection in public. And Lord Shiva smiled back. He said, he didn't think about it. But Parvati, she couldn't take that offense against her Prabhu, and she cursed him. And then he thanked her. And she said, what is this? How is this devotee? This devotee activity is so amazing. And then Lord Shiva explained that a devotee is not afraid of anything. You cursed him, he's not afraid. Because a devotee is happy. Wherever he can serve Krishna, he's happy. So many incidents like this to teach us what is the proper etiquette. Just like Lord Chaitanya, one time he was in the house of Srivas, and Murari Gupta arrived, and he came before Lord Chaitanya and he offered obeisances. And then he offered obeisances to Nityananda. And Lord Chaitanya said, one should learn proper etiquette. And he left. He didn't even say anything to Murari Gupta. So then Srivas said to Murari that Nityananda is senior to Lord Chaitanya. And so the next day he came and he offered obeisances to Lord Nityananda. And then to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and embraced him. So the Lord is happy when we understand how to deal properly with devotees, how to respect devotees. So this is such an important point. So this verse, that's why I'm thinking of these things, that it shows that even if a devotee may not, just like Srivas Thakur, when he was offended by Gopal Chappal, by putting, worship paraphernalia for Durga on his step, and then when Srivas came out, he looked. The Brahmins were looking at surprise. Who has done this? And he said, "Just see, I have been exposed. Just see. Now you all know that I am secretly worshiping Durga. I am not really a Vaishnava." And the Brahmins said, "No. And immediately, Gopal was afflicted with leprosy, very bad. His nose was falling off. His fingers and his toes were falling off. And then he saw Lord Chaitanya, and he realized his offense. And he said, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I have offended your devotee. And Lord Chaitanya said, you will suffer for millions of births, and you will be eaten by worms, and so he begged the Lord again and again, please. And Lord Chaitanya said, I cannot do anything. Only Srivas can. And then he went to Srivas and he said, please forgive me. He said, oh, you have done something wrong? No. But I will forgive. Whatever it is, I forgive you. Srivas was not affected. Also, Srivas was indirectly offended by Devananda Pandit. Indirectly, because it was actually his followers. Srivas, he was reading the 10th canto, and Srivas hearing these wonderful ecstatic pastimes of Krishna. Of course, we are warned that we should not hear from persons who are not devotees. He was almost a devotee. He had appreciation for the Bhagavatam, but he had some Mayavad contamination. And so, but the students, when they saw Srivas, he fell on the ground and was rolling in ecstasy. They thought, what is this? They're just sitting there like this. hearing Krishna's pastime. And so they picked up Srivas and put him outside the ashram. And Srivas was thinking, oh, I'm not worthy of hearing Krishna's pastime. He was thinking like that. I'm not worthy. But immediately, Devananda was cursed. And he could not understand. Everyone was telling him, everyone was preaching, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality, but he could not understand it. He could not understand. And then finally, he was convinced. But Lord Chaitanya would not, even when he was convinced that he had committed an offense against Srivas, Lord Chaitanya would not receive him. One time, Lord Chaitanya was coming with his devotees, and he saw the ashram of Devananda, and he started running toward and the devotees said, what are you doing? I'm going to tear up his Bhagavatam. He does not deserve the Bhagavatam. And he said, no, my Lord, it is the Bhagavatam. So he stopped me. He said, let's go. We go another direction. I don't even want to go close. So then Devananda was starting to get in great anxiety because everyone was telling him he had committed a great offense. So he didn't know what to do. And Srivas was not available. No, they told him, you can ask for forgiveness, but he was not available. But then, because he was feeling so much grief, by the arrangement of the Lord, Rakeshwar Pandit came to his ashram. He stayed for 1 month, dancing in ecstasy, speaking about Krishna, singing about Krishna. And by the association of Rakeshwar Pandit, then he became purified. And then by that purification, he approached Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya forgave him. And he said, because actually one Brahmin came to Lord Chaitanya and he said, what do you do? And he related this to Devananda. If I've committed an offense against a Vaishnava, but the Vaishnava, I don't have access to that Vaishnava, what can I do? And he said, you worship the Lord every day. You serve the Vaishnavas every day. And you chant the holy name incessantly. And then you may be forgiven from the offense. And so when he heard that, he got the association of Rakeshwar Pandit. And Lord Chaitanya embraced him and said, you have so much knowledge. Give up your pride and just preach Krishna consciousness. And he fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. So this is the blessing. No. And this is the importance of Vaishnava association. Just like here, we're all together hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting together and serving together. So we have to see how wonderful this is. What a great fortune that we have received by all this wonderful association, all these wonderful opportunities. And always take advantage to glorify the devotees and always see all the Vaishnavas as more advanced than I am. Then we can have success in spiritual life. Even Krishna taught this. I'll conclude with this. When Krishna was going into the forest with Balaram, he said, just see, Balaram, how these trees are offering obeisances to you. They are bowing down and offering their fruits at your lotus feet because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In these verses, it said this, that this is Bhagavan. So, and then he said, and just see these bees. They are actually sages, but they've taken the form of bees so they can swarm around your lotus feet. And just see how the deer are staring at you with unblinking eyes, seeing your beauty. And then Krishna began to massage Balaram. So he's showing. Here's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Enjoyer. He's showing it. And even Lord Vishnu when the Kumaras were denied entry, he told them that the Brahmins are so dear to me. They're so dear to me that for their sake, I would cut off my arm. This is Lord Vishnu. So here, the same thing. The Lord did not take it as an offense because the Brahmins are so dear to him. So if the Brahmins are so dear to him, how much dearer are the Vaishnavas? No. Of course, Srila Prabhupada said, a real Brahmin is a Vaishnava. Otherwise, he's like a shadow Brahmin or like a hollow Brahmin. Part Brahmin and part Ahankar. But if you're really a Brahmin, you must be a Vaishnava. You must be a real Brahmin. Because Brahmin means one who worships Brahman. And the supreme Brahman, Param Brahman, is Krishna. So, the real Brahman. So, and of course also, in many places, the Lord speaks about the glories of the Brahman. He said, I eat through the mouth of the Brahman. Therefore, technically speaking, you can offer even Bhoga to a Brahmin. And of course, a disciple can offer Bhoga to the spiritual master, technically speaking. But the spiritual master does not want that. No. One time, the devotees offered a plate to Srila Prabhupada, and he said, has this been offered to the deity? Of course, on Vyas Puja, that's the one time when the disciple can offer directly to the spiritual master. And the spiritual master will offer it to Krishna before distributing to the devotee. So, this is Vaishnava etiquette. So here we have a breach of etiquette. But this was arranged. This was arranged even though, like Arjuna, his ignorance was arranged. And Parikshit Maharaj, his offense was arranged by the Lord. So this was arranged by Lila Shakti in order that everyone could understand. Otherwise, Lila Shakti would not allow something like this to happen. But she allowed it to happen by the desire of the Lord. So his position as the supreme person above Shiva and Brahma would be established. So he allowed it to happen so that all the sages would understand who is Krishna. So here is the evidence that Vishnu is supreme. But the foolish Mayavadis, who knows how they interpret this pastime? Who knows? They'll find a way. They cannot accept because they are offensive. They're offensive to the Lord. And if you're offensive to the Lord, you can never understand. Even, and I'll conclude with this. I really will conclude with it. Even if you're a neophyte devotee, Srila Prabhupada, in purport to 9:11 Bhagavad-gita, he says, if a neophyte devotee worships the deity, but does not offer obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, understanding that Paramatma is within their heart, if he can only see the Lord in the deity, then his advancement will not be very rapid. So, a real devotee actually sees, because when Prataparudra saw the devotees coming, they immediately went in and took the association of Mahaprabhu, and he asked Gopinath Acharya, why are they not shaving their heads? Why are they not bathing? And why are they not doing all the... He said, because a Vaishnava is immediately, spontaneously attracted to the Lord and his devotees. And therefore, they immediately went for the association of the Lord. They did not stop for any ritual. So, this is the great fortune that we, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and his books, this Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the opportunity to understand these things. But to understand them, we also have to be very careful that our behavior is proper. And otherwise, we won't understand. We'll sit and read, and then after 3 pages, we'll be thinking, what did I just read? Because I don't have the ability to remember this because I'm not in the proper consciousness. So these are some thoughts on these verses. I'll stop here. And if there's any comment or question. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for very wonderfully explaining the concept of supremacy of Krishna and the characteristics of Vaishnavas. Maharaj, my question is, in the initial part, you were mentioning that how we should live and serve Krishna naturally. It should not be artificially we are living and serving Krishna in ashram. So, Maharaj, initially when we join ashram, we have this desire that I want to serve Krishna and I am attracted to ashram, brahmachari ashram. But how we understand that it is superficial? Where is the line where it become I'm suppressing my desire? So how I can understand I am attracted and continue in this ashram, Maharaj?
If we're, the point is to serve Krishna in whatever ashram. So, if one is a brahmachari and feels very happy being a brahmachari, and your mind is not disturbed when you're, in a situation where the opposite sex is present, then you're properly situated. But if the mind becomes disturbed, and then I'll be stricter, I'll do this and that, and the mind remains disturbed, then one should think that maybe I'm not in the best ashram. Maybe it's time for me to take another ashram. So the point is one should feel happy in one's position and feel enlivened. Not that one should be a brahmachari because thinking, no, getting married, family, that's all very difficult. Because I make the point many times, brahmachari life should be more difficult than grihastha life. If it's not, then it means you're just, hiding behind the orange shield, but not properly situated. Just like in Los Angeles, they used to have an ice cream truck, and they had a certain type of ice cream called a creamsicle, and it was white ice cream, but it had an orange covering. So whenever a brahmachari was not, other brahmachari they see wasn't so nicely situated, they'd say, oh, he's a creamsicle. No, orange on the outside, white on the inside. No. So the point is that we should, so many grihastas, just like Srila Prabhupada glorified the 3 grihastas who went to London, one of them having a small child. They went to London. They couldn't even afford to go to London. The cheapest flight they got was to Amsterdam. And they only had something like $200. So one of them would go, and then they would wire the money back, and the other one would come, and they wire the money back. And then that's how they got there. They didn't even have enough money to get into the country. And they had no idea what they would do, And so Prabhupada said, they are real brahmacharis. They are better than any sannyasi. So the point is, we should be situated in whatever situation that will allow us to do the best service and to surrender. It doesn't matter what position we're in.
Hare Krishna. when we join, then our heart is not pure enough, but we have a desire, and we feel if we continue, may it get purified, and such tendencies are not there. So, where is the line, Maharaj, that now I can think I am unable to continue, I should change ashram, or
If one is unable to continue,
Maharaj, the feeling is there that let me continue and practice Krishna consciousness, and gradually the heart get purified.
so I didn't. How to draw the line? Well, you just, how do you feel inside? If I feel enlivened, if I feel enthusiastic, then that means I'm properly situated. That's where the line is. Where I should be, as Srila Prabhupada said, we should be ready to accept any fresh challenge. We should be wanting to, accept more challenges. We should be able to be in any situation and feel that enthusiasm to go ahead. That's where we draw the line. If, we always encourage someone to continue brahmachari life as long as they can, honestly and peacefully, because that will either prepare them to be a brahmachari or prepare them to be a grihastha. So that's brahmachari life is preparation. Either you become a naistika brahmachari, you become a grihastha, or eventually you become a sannyasi. But in any of those positions, the important thing is to surrender to Krishna. Lord Chaitanya's closest associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Acharya, Advaita Acharya, they were all grihasthas. They never took sannyas. And so, his sannyas associates were not as intimately associated with him as the Panchatattva. And 3 members of the Panchatattva were grihasthas. Nityananda became a grihastha afterwards. He was a brahmachari in the beginning. So we can see right there, the Lord doesn't judge us by grihastha but Prabhupada encouraged, if you can be a brahmachari, be a brahmachari. He said it's easier, meaning it's easier to do full-time service, but it's not an easier lifestyle, especially in this modern atmosphere of, unbridled sense gratification that we have now in modern society. Even here in India, it's becoming more and more common that just, uninhibited sense gratification. And especially here in Mumbai, this is the capital, capital of more sense gratification, Bollywood, all these things right here. So if you can be a brahmachari here, you probably go back home, back to Godhead. So anyway, the time is up now. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanandi.
His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj ki jai.